Hi, my name is Tess. Welcome to Dusty Betty. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Juliana Furtado. Juliana is the sister line to Santa Cruz bikes. So the Furtado is the sister of the 5010. If you're interested in that bike, this will still be a really helpful review, but this is a size small. This particular Juliana Furtado is a part of the rental fleet at Thunder Mountain Bikes here in Sedona, Arizona. They are our wonderful local bike shop. They treat the locals well, they treat the visitors well, and they have a lot of great rental bikes. They carry a whole bunch of different brands, and you can actually hop on Thunder Mountain Bikes website, which I will link below, and see all the great bikes that they have to choose from. So if you're headed to Sedona, Arizona, make sure you stop by Thunder Mountain Bikes and tell them that Dusty Betty sent you. All right, so a little bit about the Juliana Furtado. This is the sister bike to the Santa Cruz 5010. Juliana is women's line. They are very similar. They're pretty much the same bikes. They just have different paint jobs. They will usually either have a slightly lighter tune for the suspension, or some of them just have fewer volume spacers that come with them stock. They also have slightly narrower bars, usually smaller grips, women's saddle. But they definitely don't dumb down their geometry for women's bikes, which is awesome. The reach on this bike is 425. The head tube angle on this bike is 65.7. Seat tube angle is 77.6. I'm off in between bike sizes, but Juliana puts me on a small. I do think I could easily size up, especially if this was my only bike. Where I ride, we do have some steep rock rolls and some kind of bigger ledges, so I would probably have no problem sizing up to medium. Just to give you guys a reference point, I'm 5 feet 4 inches tall. I've got a 30-inch inseam, so I'm long legs, a little bit shorter torso. This bike is 27.5. All of my personal bikes right now are 29, so this will be fun to be back on 27.5. I'm not into it when people treat things like wheel size and pedal choice like a religion. They're just different. But I can definitely see why people love 27.5. The 27.5 does still kind of cut through, especially slow speed, little tech balance moves really nicely. And I do think for sub 5 foot riders, even a good 29er in your size may just not handle as great for you as a 27.5. So all the climbs so far are mostly just kind of seated, sitting, spinning kind of climbs. This is a nice short bike, and then with a good seat tube angle, it's a pretty comfy, aggressive climber for sitting and spinning. We'll get some stand-up sprints later. These tires look a little narrow to me. They were looking like almost like 2.2 wide, but I look, they're actually 2.5. But they're set on like either a 30 or maybe 31 mil rim. If this was my bike, I might go up to a 35 mil rim, because that'll spread that 2.5 tire out a little more, give a little more surface area, which is really nice out here where you have a lot of technical climbs, and that extra surface area is really nice. So this bike has 130 mil travel in the shock and 140 in the fork, which is a really great range. I remember a few years ago, I wanted a bike with, something like this travel, either 140 or 130 travel by 140 like this. And there wasn't a lot, but man, there sure is a lot in that range now. I am kind of missing the 29s a little bit. I think especially with like a lower travel bike like this, it's very playful, but I'm feeling it hang up in some of the little holes coming down here. Not terrible, but it's subtle. It's making me realize, oh yeah, I am a 29 rider most of the time. I'm gonna speed up the rebound a little bit. Oh, that's gonna feel way better. I need pretty quick rebound. Yeah, there we go. There's that playfulness. I used to have a 5010 to the Furtado, and super fun, super playful, easy to throw around. Even though, for me, where I live now, with what I'm riding, I'd probably size up to medium. When I was more at a stage like I'd only been riding about a year or so, I had the small 50-10, and I'm really glad I did that, because being on a little bit shorter bike, if you're the type of person who, you're not super high adrenaline, take a little longer to get comfortable doing stuff on a bike, going down to a little bit smaller size is a little easier while you're learning to handle a bike. But this bike, oh yeah, now it's awake. Now that I sped up the rebound. One thing that is kind of a cool feel that Santa Cruz, their 50-10 and Furtado, the feel they have is, especially in the shock, it's not completely deadening the ride. So I feel like you still feel what's going on in the trail, and it still teaches you to ride with your feet intelligently, pay attention to where your back tire is, but there's no sting in it. But that 130 travel is enough to help you roll through things, but it's not the kind of erase the trail feel. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually can be a really good thing. That kind of suspension feel also lends itself really well to, learning technical climbing skills and practicing at a pump track. And it's a speedy bike, and it's fairly light. It's probably like a 30-pound or so build, but it doesn't quite pick up momentum or feel like it picks up momentum in the same way as a 29-inch wheel bike of a similar configuration. Now that opinion could be a lot based on the fact that I'm just used to riding 29s. So if you love 27.5 and it's a good fit for you, don't let me stop you. Compared to my Ibis Ripley, I also like that the suspension on this feels a little more progressive, meaning as you work into the suspension, the resistance builds up. So it makes it really snappy and poppy when you're pumping and things like that. And compared with my Ibis Ripley, I feel like this is a lot more progressive, which I actually kind of like. And also the Ripley has a tendency to blow through the shock and bottom out. This feels very dialed. Not just the shock, but that rear linkage feels really good. I will say that the 27.5 is nice for those little slow speed balance moves, kind of last minute recovery. This is a Shimano Dior XT build. It's spec'd with a RockShox Super Deluxe Select Plus shock and a Pike Select Plus. All right, so who is the Juliana Furtado / Santa Cruz 50-10 for? I'd say this is a great bike for people who don't just want to erase the trail. You're really active riders, use their feet, do a lot of wheel lifts, and you want to feel what's going on. You want the playfulness. I think it's going to be really easy for practicing things on pump tracks, practicing wheelies, practicing bunny hops. I think a good rider could easily push this bike into very, very technical terrain, but I think most riders are probably gonna find the sweet spot in the blue square and single black diamond trails for this bike. I also think this is a great bike for people who are still, just big fans of 27.5. It's configured around that really well. So if that sounds like you, I think this could be a great fit for you. I would say this bike is not for the people who like a little more of a plush feel in the suspension, especially going downhill. If you like a little more small bump compliance, then this is probably not quite the bike you're looking for. Even in this travel range for a trail bike, you can find stuff that's going to be a little more plush. If you're more of a 29 person, this one, it will definitely know you're on 27.5 wheels. So if you don't love that, then it's something good to know going in. If I were going to get this bike, I would probably size up to a medium. If you have any other questions about this bike that I haven't addressed, chat me up in the comments. Big thanks to Thunder Mountain Bikes here in Sedona for partnering with me on this video, and also big thanks to Laser Helmets, my helmet sponsor. I will have a link to my Laser Jackal in the description, as well as a link to Thunder Mountain Bikes. Thank you so much for watching. Get dusty.